these 10 businesses that I think you should not bother trying. Okay, some of them people are still doing them, some of people are explaining, but my majority are not doing well in it. Only the minority. And I want you to understand that some businesses that you're doing well in, there are many people that are not doing well in it, and some businesses that people are not doing well, there are those that are doing well. Okay. Now what I ask, what do I use to define this business as huge? I said you shouldn't try in 2026. I'm asking, can it be scaled? Can I send my child to a very good school with it? Can I take a vacation at least once in 5 years abroad through this business after I scale it? Can I buy a decent property from this line of business? Yes, that's what I'm trying to define as a good business. I'm not talking about survival business. By the way, 90% of Nigerian business are survival business. They cannot do those things I listed. They cannot scale the business. So what do I mean scale? When you start a business and you're making 200,000 a month, your vision is to make 200 million a month. It might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, it might be 20, but that's your vision, okay, to grow. So if you're on 200,000 this month, next month you should make 250, 300. You must keep scaling. So that's what I mean. Can you send your child to a very good school? Can you be able to afford a vacation through that business once in 5 years? Can you buy a decent property that you will live through that business? Okay, because majority of people are doing business, but they are using under income and they are portraying like that business is doing well. So the first business I want you to know that you should not try is your newspaper or traditional bookstore. If you know someone that has a bookstore, tell them to think about it. It's not flying. It's a survival business. It's feeding hand to mouth. Physical print is dying fast. Okay, platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube have taken attention. Even educated people prefer free, fast, and digital content. Okay, nobody has time to start reading. Very few people like us traditional will still read books. I read a lot of motivational books, Bible, whatever. But as per all these newspaper stands and all that, they are dying. So if you know someone that is into it, there are ideas I can share with them of how they can metamorphose to survive, to be able to do those things I said, except they just want to survive and do hand to mouth. The second business you should not do is DVD or CD sales. Okay, there's a guy that still supplies my dad. My dad is still one of his last survivors. Sends these olden days Nigerian home videos. You see, streaming has killed him. And I kept telling the man that, look, you come all the way from Ajegule to Ireland to give this guy these 3 CDs. How much? Maybe 3K. He said his money is around. He doesn't come back. I could see that the guy is out of idea. I tried to tell him things he can do. Even if it's to download and sell people digital format of the movies, it's better. Okay? Streaming has killed CDs and DVDs completely. Apps like Netflix, Spotify made physical media very relevant. It's very relevant. I don't know who still buy CD to play and watch. Okay? The third one is cyber cafe, browsing only cyber cafe. I'm not talking about business center. They are different. If you have a cyber cafe, I had a private cafe many years ago, and it did very, very well. Very, very well. Okay, in the era of cheap smartphones and data, and you don't need cafes. Okay, just browse anywhere. Okay, unless you provide additional services like printing, photocopying, jam result checking, all those things they do there, then you're doing hand to mouth. It's there. Put it away. Don't even try it. Put it away. It's there. The fourth one is generic boutiques. I see people go to a very expensive mall. I won't say it, but maybe the person will know. A friend's wife just set up a big clothes. She has a good identity, good idea. Set up a clothes brand, a clothes shop in a big mall. 12 million naira a year plus service charge. I think they do about 50K every month service charge. No, opening a random clothes store without a niche is slow death. Okay, cheap import. There are lots of cheap import. Instagram sellers, vendors, invest in media, invest to send your things through online. People know how many times I bought so many things online. I've not even met these people. I can't think of myself going to a mall now that I'm going to buy jeans or any of those things. I don't. Maybe the old school, some people still do. Maybe my old clients still call me. But if you're in that line of business, except you have a niche, maybe you're selling big size, big people's size of shoe, big people's size of shoe, or your corporate wear or specialty scarf or something. But it's getting challenged. So if you have a boutique, start thinking about it. In fact, most people that I know that have boutique that are doing well, they do a lot of content through their show because the customers are in the clouds. And it's even bigger. You can have customers in Ghana. So if you know anyone that has a shop, tell them to reanalyze. They should invest more in media, in social media, adverts, and all those things. So that's that part. Okay, and people can easily go to China and all that to bring. The fifth one is pure water sachet business. Yes. I know one, I know two, I know three, I know four, is dying fast. Not because people are not ordering for pure water. No, there are too many players and the margins are thin. But who are those that are making it? If you cannot produce large scale, okay, with strong distribution, you struggle. If you cannot produce large scale pure water, strong distribution, you struggle. So it's just like the telecoms. We have only 4 major telecoms companies in Nigeria. Now, but those days they gave license, they were close to 7. The other ones died out. So that's what's happening to pure water. You notice a few are the ones dominating. They love everyone. Every now and then, people come out and they hit them back. People come out and because it's quite competitive. You need very good distribution, very good vehicle. Yes, I'm saying that I don't know one, I don't know two, more than at least 3-4 people that I know personally who have gone into it, and it's a lot of stress. Forget what people tell you about it, okay? Yes. The 6th one is, these small POS stands and on strategic location. I told you guys that I have a friend that has about 50-something POS, yes. But one thing I noticed, meanwhile, I have people that have closed it. In fact, you guys know that I have an outlet that has about 12 branches, and we did POS in summer. But when I found out that it wasn't worth it, okay, you must be for you to make profit. It's better if they are charging you 20,000 naira a day or 20,000 naira a week in an uncrowded place, a funny community. Go and pay 40,000 in a bus stop if you have it in a crowded market. That's what my friend is doing, okay? But if you're doing POS and you're just sitting down somewhere with the POS itself, then people like us between that believe that the risk to reward ratio is very low. If you exchange 100,000 naira, I think they are making 1,000 naira or something like that. How about if you lose the money? So the risk is not worth it. Yes, that's right. So I'm not saying POS is not bad, but on strategic locations, that's what I'm saying. On strategic areas that are not strategic is not worth it, okay? Number 7 is on branded restaurant and booker. I see people just say, I want to open a foodie, I want to open a grill, I want to do this. No, okay? Food sells, but the average food business fail. Be very good in it. Why is the restaurant failing? Let's be honest with ourselves. You are average, okay? No brand, no system, no consistency. Customers will not return. I come into a place, just eat, come say, come serve. That is one of the reasons why your restaurant is struggling. You have here okra soup. No, be known for something. There's a place I buy white soup. That's what they say. They sell other things, but I don't even care. I buy white soup because of that place. So don't just set up a booker, a restaurant where people eat, and some of you use the word that people must eat no matter what. Yes, people must eat, but they will not eat cabbage twice. People must eat, but they will not eat cabbage twice. All right, so that's that part. Number 8 is recharge card printing business. Okay, except you're selling to my dad. I think my father is the only person I know who still goes to buy a recharge card, because telecoms have shifted to digital. We have the apps, we have USSD, we have multiple recharge ways that you can recharge. So either you, like I said in the beginning of the program, is businesses you can scale. Okay, can you ask yourself honestly, with this method you're running, that can you scale? You cannot scale. Okay, you must think of a way to move to the next level. Maybe you buy wholesale, and you must still have a website or app whereby people buy from you. Maybe you start translating to your old customers, all right, on how they can do it. So that's that one. Number 9 is low level importation without direction or differentiation. I see a lot of people do all those pre-order. You see, everybody can go to China now, but there's still opportunities. Let's say you go and bring in towels. You bring it in for 15,000 and you sell it for 20,000. Anybody can do that. How about going to talk to those guys to come and get a factory in Nigeria? Either they pay, market them, start marketing those guys. That's the next step. Anybody can go to China now. All those buy cheap, sell cheap is now saturated. Everybody does that. Everyone is importing from China. There must be a way. Competition has become brutal. You must not differentiate yourself. Okay? And there's a lady I follow, I saw her online. She Paramount, and she was talking about the wholesale. Lots of wholesale places are coming, and those Chinese people want to come down. It's a cheaper investment for them, whereby even they don't build a factory, have a warehouse whereby they bring it direct. So it now save you. Go and set up where people that go to China come to buy from now. That's the level. That's the next level. But as per say you're doing pre-order, you roam around China and bring. You guys will tell yourself the truth. I'm seeing it all over the place. It's not flying anymore. It's not. You must differentiate yourself. Anybody can go to China with a press of a button. All right. The final one, number 10, is laundry business, okay, without structure or scale. Why am I saying that? If you have a laundry business, I'm seeing many of them are failing, many of them are struggling, and that's an industry I'm very passionate about, that is very dear to my heart. Why? That was the first business I did in my struggle days, and we grew from home to 12 outlets to almost 30 something workers, and we're still pushing. It has its challenge, but you see, life metamorphosis. Days are past that you just put something and put a signboard that I'm running a laundry. You will die of hunger. Okay, I have to be truth here. A poorly structured laundry business is the fastest way to get broke, and unfortunately many of you are still stuck at washerman. No business, no pricing strategy, no system, no branding, no B2B clients. You know, you're structured like one man business. Even if you're one man, there's a way you can structure it not to be like one man. Now you have challenges from laundromats, but the good thing again, don't be threatened by laundromat, because laundromat has his niche, he has his market. People that just want a fast. But the average Nigerian, the banker, the worker, whatever, want to just give you a dirty clothes, get me a completely clean, well-ironed clothes. So not everybody has time to carry clothes to laundromats, and that's what I keep saying. Okay, so but you must specialize yours. We have clients that have been with us for the past 15 years, for the past 16 years. I don't run it directly anymore. I have managing director, I have supervisors, but we still have a structure. You must have a structure, and you must focus more on B2B. Approach hotels, approach schools, approach restaurants, collect their things and be washing for them. Offer them damn good service. Set up your quality control, which is like the central defender of laundry business. Okay, so that's just a few things.